Welcome all you scaredy cats out there. It's time for another episode of Once More with Feelings. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Beth. And this is an emotional journey podcast where we journey with the podcast, watching the movies and talking about how we feel.
All the emotions. This week's episode, we have our special guest, Pat Green. Once again, he is a friend of the show. Welcome, Pat.
Hi, ladies. It is so wonderful to be back. This is fun.
We enjoy having you here. And this week we have done, this is movie 4 in our not-so-scary
October-tastical Scary Fest.
Whatever it is. And we did Poltergeist, the 1982 classic.
We sure did. And let's just run through the summary real quick.
Okay.
So the IMDb summary is a young family is visited by ghosts in their home. At first, the ghosts appear friendly, moving objects around the house to the amusement of everyone. But then they start to get nasty and start to terrorize the family, eventually kidnapping their youngest daughter.
Wow.
That's the summary. It's very summarized.
I think if I heard that, I don't think I would have, like, when I'm watching the movie, I wouldn't have put what we see in the movie with that summary.
Yeah, really, the only people that are amused are the mom and the daughter when the kitchen chair does the little slidey thing.
And even then, Carol Ann's just like really like, oh, can we get pizza? You know?
I mean, she doesn't see it as a magic trick. She sees it as someone pushing her.
Yeah, so definitely, I definitely wouldn't put that descriptor with that movie.
Sure. But let's stick to the formula. Pat, how did you feel when you first saw Poltergeist? And what were the circumstances?
When I first saw Poltergeist, I was 13 years old, so this is 1983, and I was watching it on HBO at my grandparents' house, which I now lived in. And I had very limited experience with horror movies. I think before that I had seen Kiss versus Phantom of the Amusement Park in 77, which was a made-for-TV movie featuring Kiss. The clown scene, that terrified me, and it stuck with me because I've had a fear of clowns since I was a little boy. So from the first moment that I saw the clown, I'm just like, I hate this. And then when the clown did its thing, it really stuck with me because it was HBO. I did watch it a few more times, and every time I was mortified, I was scared, but kind of like a roller coaster, I enjoyed the thrill.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me. I got to see it on HBO, and that was my grandmother's house as well. Mm-hmm. It was on the weekend, and she had this large big bay window, and in front of that big bay window was a big ass tree. And I remember thinking, well, if that tree attacks, I'm in trouble because I sleep on the couch there. And it's a giant bay window right by the couch. So I'll be in real trouble. But yeah, the clowns scared me more than the tree did. The clowns were always, especially the way in which the clown appears at the end.
Mm-hmm. Don't look under the bed.
It's that classic double take of, you're going to look somewhere and then the misdirection is what gets you.
Mm-hmm. It is. So I will join the bandwagon of HBO. In 1983, I remember, this is like the second, so let's see, 1983, I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. So this is the second scary movie I remember ever seeing. And my first one was the original black and white Haunting of Hill House, or The House on Haunted Hill. It's the one with the spiral staircase. I always get them backwards. Not the insane asylum, the spiral staircase. And that is always going to be a classic in my mind. That is my favorite scary movie. And I don't like scary movies in general, but Poltergeist was the second one I remember seeing. I don't remember why at 8 years old I was allowed to watch it, But here's the messed up
I mean,
thing.
it was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
Everyone was allowed to watch anything.
Again, my mother also introduced me to Rocky Horror Picture Show when I was 14 years old. So who am I to judge, really?
Latchkey kids.
Yeah.
We watched whatever.
And moms don't help sometimes. But here's the thing about Poltergeist is I have a sister who is 7 years younger than me. She did not have that towhead blonde, but she was a little dark blonde baby, and she had that same little haircut, little Dutch boy haircut. And my uncles or whoever the hell hated me in life taught her how to go around going, "They're here." And so this tormented me for years. And if you know anything about my sister, it was just par for the course and should have saw how life was going to go from that point forward. So yeah, that was my, my little sister was Carol Ann in a way, and hated it. But yeah, I love the movie though. I remember like it was definitely one of my favorite scary movies. Mostly because Zelda's in it, and I love Zelda Rubinstein. She's just amazing, and I got to learn so much about her doing the research. So,
well,
yeah,
let's talk a little bit
more
about her.
Yes,
because there are several big name actors in this, obviously.
Yes,
but we have Zelda, who is, especially at the time, was not well known.
No, this is her first major role. She had 2 other smaller roles, but this was her first major role. Before doing this, she has a BA in bacteriology and was a lab tech in London.
Wow.
I know. She's freaking awesome. And shortly after this, she became, and the reason why I think her stardom kind of sputtered out and she ended up doing a lot of like C-level movies is she became extremely involved in the AIDS awareness, during the AIDS epidemic. She was definitely an advocate for safe sex. The woman, gay rights. She just touches my heart. She was one of the first people to attend the first AIDS walk from the LA AIDS Project. I can't. I took so many notes on her.
Oh, you're gonna love this, Pat. She was in 16 Candles.
She was the organist.
No way.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I had no idea. I keep trying to search my memory for her being there, and honestly, I just cannot place it.
Wow.
But she's in one of my favorite teenage movies, Teen Witch, which I loved. Teen Witch. I can't think of her name. She was in, she was in Twin Peaks, the redhead. She was in the diner. She's in the episode of Psych when they do the Cinnamon Festival.
I can't
think of her name, but that was like, she was the Teen Witch. And the only reason it has that really bad rap in it, the white girl rapping with the white boys, it is so bad. That movie is horrible, but I love it so much. And Zelda is in it. She plays a witch, surprisingly.
Wow.
It's a great movie. It's a bad movie, but it's a great movie.
I think she just sneaks up on you because while she does have presence, she's not stealing the scene in 16 Candles. In Poltergeist, she absolutely steals the scene from everyone around her.
The best with her is when they're arguing over, her and Jo Beth Williams' character are arguing over who's going to go get Carol Ann. And she's like, okay, you want to go? Go. She backs off so fast, and I love that.
I love it leading up to that. You've never done this before. You haven't either. All right, cool.
Yeah, you're good.
Exactly.
Yep, you're right. You made a point. I'm good with this. The other thing that I thought was really neat about Zelda, and then we can move on, is she is the voice of Taste the Rainbow.
I knew that, but I forgot that I knew that until you said it.
I did not know she was the Taste the Rainbow for Skittles. I did not realize that was her voice because it's a whisper. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There is one more thing. And this is going to tie into our live episode. She did a show called Scariest Places on Earth, and she did it between 2000 and 2006. And she was the narrator of this show, and Linda Blair was the host. And they would literally talk about the scariest places on Earth. And I remember watching this show, but she would introduce the show as the narrator, and then Linda Blair came on as the host and would talk about the different scary places. And because we're doing The Exorcist next week, I thought that was a good little Zelda tie-in.
So we have Jo Beth Williams, who is Diane Freeling, and she is the heart of this movie.
Yes.
I mean, I think, well, Zelda's the heart, really. Diane is the backbone.
Well, like what Zelda says is Tangina says, this house has many hearts.
Yeah, I think Jo Beth Williams, though, she just carries this movie. Like, she is the person who is always there.
Well, she's the mom, and she's definitely got, it's about her kids. She's I wouldn't call her a tiger mom in the sense of like, fuck with my kids, I'll kill you. But she is. I do feel like that poor Robbie gets neglected a few times. Poor Robbie.
Definitely the 80s vibe of, your kids can fend for themselves once they reach 8.
You're on your own there, kid. Good.
Yeah, but there was also a Jan Brady vibe with him. They just sort of left him to his own devices a few times.
Oh, he just got eaten by a tree, and then you abandoned him to the haunted room looking for your other kid. And this poor kid is like in a shocked daze, wandering around the house with goo and blood on him. And they're just, I feel like he would have been glued to my side. I'd have been carrying him around, or I don't know. I wouldn't have left him. Poor baby.
Well, she has like a lot of maternal instincts that are on display because this is her movie, basically. Mm-hmm. She showcases in almost every scene, she's always there. And she is going to be the one who does the thing. Yeah. And oddly, in this kind of movie, you expect the man or the male to be the one who enacts all these gender roles, who protects and who does all the action bits. But Craig T. Nelson,
she does. Yeah, he doesn't really do any action.
He's not diving through the door to go get the child,
or getting rolled across the wall and ceiling either.
Yeah, she's willing to go toe to toe above her head to save her kids. And one thing that just caught me about that energy, that obviously I have not seen this movie since I was a teenager until earlier this morning. One thing that caught me was when Craig T. Nelson's character is explaining that she's 32, and then they mention that the oldest daughter is 16. I'm like, she's a young mom.
Very young mom.
She had her first at 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That means Craig probably got her pregnant senior year of high school, and then they got married.
Pretty much, yeah. And that would explain, like, there's like, to me, a vibe with her where she's got a hippie, so 82, go back, she's 32 now, we'll go back 15 years. She could have like that whole hippie upbringing. And but then when in the beginning, when she's smoking weed in bed and he's reading a book about Reagan, and he's got that yuppie, I am their yuppie attitude, and she's just like a chill hippie, like I'm an adult now, but I'm still young at heart, and I'm gonna smoke weed in bed. I've got my cigar box of weed. She's rolling up a doob. I love that. There is a definite down to this movie, in the whole Poltergeist arc of the 3 movies. And I only really kind of, in my research, grabbed like some of the main headliners, but we all know about the Poltergeist curse. And, yes, I get why people are calling it a curse because, weird stuff was happening and people died who were unexpectedly died of unusual circumstances pertaining to like the younger ones. But there were so many deaths involved with, all 3 movies. Mm-hmm. And so, the first death was Dominique Dunn. And she died in 80, I don't have my note here. 82. Yes, I'm sorry, 82. I didn't put that next to her name. And so the movie came out in 82. She died a few months later. And she was strangled by her ex-boyfriend. And they rushed her to the hospital. She never regained consciousness, and she ended up passing away. The second was actually not Heather O'Rourke, but was Julian Beck, who in the second movie plays the horrifying Cain. I, in my worst days, have God is in his holy temple done in Cain's voice in the back of my head. It's so horrifying. But he pulls it off so beautifully. Julian, he died of stomach cancer. And third, we have Will Sampson, who was in the second movie. He was the shaman, and he died of kidney failure. He had actually had a heart and lung transplant, and his body did not handle it very well, and he went into kidney failure. And then Heather passed away in 1988, 4 months before the third movie was released. So they released the movie 4 months after her passing.
Now, let me ask a question real quick. The
Yes.
two male characters that you listed, was one of them, because I don't remember much about Poltergeist 2 and 3.
Okay.
Was one of them the person that was the gaunt, almost skeletal looking?
Yes, so they knew that they knew he was sick.
He just as an aside, he was also the main villain in the season 2 2-hour opener of Miami Vice.
Oh, wow, did not know that.
Yeah, he was a corporate Wall Street bad guy that was trying to have Sonny and Crockett offed.
Oh, that's pretty. I love that type of weird.
And it was all about capitalism.
Well, hey, it was the 80s.
And so was Poltergeist.
And so we're Yeah, no, they knew that Julian was dying. He had stomach cancer. So his was not so much the shocking death as the others. But so now Heather, the thing about poor Heather O'Rourke is I only just realized that she's just a year younger than me. So if she had lived, she'd be 50 right now. And I feel so, it breaks my heart about this kid. So she was 12 when she passed away. She had been misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease and IBS. All her life, she has had problems with her little stomach and pain and just, diarrhea, the whole gamut. And she was rushed to the emergency room. They thought she had the flu. They had her on prednisone, and that's why in the third movie her face is really puffy. And they and sulfa medication to fight. That's I think that usually fights infections. Poor little girl. It turns out she had an intestinal stenosis, which is a narrowing of the intestines, and they did surgery, and she went into septic shock and cardiac arrest. And it turns out she had this intestinal stenosis. They believe she had it her whole entire life. She was born with it. And the fact that she was 12 years old before they really figured it out, and they were diagnosing her or misdiagnosing her with things that weren't wrong with her. The poor little girl suffered, and that breaks my heart. The next one was Lou Perryman, which took me a minute to figure out who Lou was. He's the guy who's the worker who's looking in the window, eating her drinking her coffee and tasting her sauce. Yeah, Pugsley. I thought she called him Brutus. No, it's Pugsley. So his name is Lou Perryman, and he was actually murdered in 2013 by an ex-con. That's all I could find.
Something I'm not sure of this. I did not have time to look it up. Mm-hmm. But the other workers, so there were like 3 or 4 workers outside their house building the pool or digging the pool. One of them looked strikingly familiar to me as someone who was in an action movie in Predator. And it seemed like he was, I don't know the character's name, I cannot remember it, the Indian character's name, the quote-unquote Indian character, Native American, who fought the Predator.
Okay.
I cannot place his name, but he looked so much like him. Then I'm like, maybe that's him, many years before.
I kind of stopped going through the names once I realized I was going into like the land of, construction worker 3.
Yeah, I mean, he had a speaking part. That's the only reason I noticed it. And I'm like, oh, wow, he looks a lot like him. I wonder if that's actually the guy. I'll have to look that up later.
I mean, the thing I think that's the worst about the whole quote-unquote curse of Poltergeist is, again, I'm not going to deny, I know Craig T. Nelson said there was some weird vibes going on during the different filmings. and that weird stuff would happen on top of, and I think at one point everybody got a stomach flu, and it was just a lot of weird stuff happened. But they used real skeletons in the pool. Those were real dead bodies, and that is kind of fucked up. As somebody who has worked in hospitals, dead bodies have a lot of bacteria, people. Even an aged dead body. And it's in water, soaking. And JoBeth Williams is in that pool with the water going in her mouth, not knowing that those are actual real dead bodies. And that's the kicker, is they didn't know that those were real bodies. And that, to me, is like the worst.
I just said, wow.
Yeah, no, it's just, no, it's horrifying. You kind of brought that on yourself, guys.
I'm of two minds on this, because whenever we talk about curse, I believe that there's some curses to the cast and crew of The Exorcist as well, if I remember correctly, though I could be wrong.
Yeah, there were a lot of accidents.
But I'm of two minds. I think, number one, we love sensational stories and thrills, and I think that feeds into us. But the other thing is, I think with one of those deaths, it brings up a different conversation that we're not having because we like the thrill ride. In this case, we have something of partner violence that we're not having a conversation about. So as you were talking about all of this, I thought of an article that I wrote about the 27 Club, which is this is Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, and they're all part of this 27 Club. There's 40 other celebrities that died at the age of 27. And there's this internet story that they all were found with white Bic lighters on their possession when they died. It started with Kurt Cobain.
I was going to say Kurt Cobain is one of them, yeah.
The thing is, stoner culture, stoners used to be afraid and have suspicious juju about white Bic lighters because of the 27 Club. And it turns out that it's a bunch of BS. I wrote about in the article, but the thing is, we're focused on the 27 Club, but not focused on how they died, how they lived, the pressure that there was in being a celebrity, the record industry driving you into depression, and all of the things that lead up to addictions and other forms of self-destruction that cause a young life that is just at the beginning to end. So it's one of those things where I love these thrill stories too, but then I sometimes feel like I'm robbing these celebrities of their story.
Oh, no, totally. Like I said, while I believe that bad, weird stuff happened on set, I don't equate the deaths to that. The deaths were just tragic, and way too many of them, for one thing. It just, to me, that in itself is not so much a curse, but just like, what the hell is going on? What is... I mean, yes, you are right. It is definitely abuse in the sense of, you know, they were a couple, they got divorced, he couldn't deal with it, so I'm going to go and kill her. And Dominique Dunn, she was just starting her career. She was beautiful. She had so much potential. And then he just took it away from her. And who the hell gives him the right to just take her life like that because your male ego was hurt?
And the thing is, with the diagnosis, misdiagnosis for years and years and years, that is such a common tale. And I think every single one of us knows somebody who went through a struggle, and then they find out that the struggle was completely something else. Just as a quick aside, my 25-year-old, when Harvey was like 21, 22, was having some serious struggles, kept going to see doctors, and the doctors just said, "Oh, you're fat, you got to lose weight." And Harvey's like, "No." So Harvey, just to make a point, lost 60 pounds, went back and said, "Things are still effed up." And they're like, "Oh, you have rheumatoid arthritis. Our bad." And it's like, why didn't you run these tests? That's a whole other discussion. And it happens to children, adults, everybody.
It happens a lot to children because we don't believe what they're saying, because little kids tend to make things up. I mean, and it's true, you know, we have our youngest. I mean, she was like, every day, my stomach hurts, I can't go to school. It's like, so, you know, it's hard to believe what's real and what's not. And I mean, for her, it ended up being a mental health issue for her, borderline personality, and we just weren't, at the time, we were not fully aware of it because she was too young for that diagnosis. But again, that goes back to that not being able to diagnose something so young. But when you have a child who has had chronic stomach issues, look into it deeper. Again, in what your son went through, it happens to women all the time, constantly. If I am told about my weight over something else that I know is wrong with me, I mean, not everything comes down to my weight, you know? I know for a fact that not everything comes down to my weight. And when I lose the weight, yeah, why is it still bothering me? There you go.
You have a concussion, but also lose weight because that concussion was what caused it.
I had a mole removed. Maybe I was fat. You know, it's like, okay, it's very, the medical, system that we have, unfortunately, is kind of set up for our failure.
Yeah.
So one of the issues with this movie and rewatching it is that we need to explain one thing right off the bat, because
we're old.
Most people will not understand this. Is that the snow, the thing that they're seeing on the screen is called snow for us. It is static. It is when the broadcast service or channel or signal is turned off.
When we had analog.
And it turns off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a 24-hour run. And until about the 90s, it was not 24 hours.
Yeah.
So the TV broadcast channel would sign off at about midnight or 1 a.m. I believe like channel 24 in Memphis turned off at 1 a.m. Everything else went off at midnight, so I could watch it one more hour. And it would almost always play the national anthem, and it had that view of the memorial for Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
Which is, the standard. And I was trying to see if maybe every channel did that, but they don't seem to have any uniformity to how they sign off.
Some of ours would have that weird test pattern grid.
Well, I'll always go to the test pattern afterwards for a bit. Yes.
Yeah, not all of ours had the static. At least not on the regular stations, but I also remember when we got cable, so, because they had it across the street and they were working their way back up our street, so our neighbors had cable and we did not yet.
Yeah, it is interesting that was so common. I mean, I remember being a kid, especially in high school. I was a voracious reader, so I would be reading, and then I would hear the Star Spangled Banner going on in the living room, and I'd be like, Grandma fell asleep in front of the TV again, and I would go out there, and for some reason, I waited until the Star Spangled Banner was over before cutting off the television and gently waking her up and prodding her to go to bed.
Because it's ingrained in us to finish the song. I can't leave it hanging.
That's completing that day's broadcast. Yeah. You have to complete it. For us completionists in video games or whatever, we also have to complete the broadcast.
And if you were like me, who couldn't sleep, because, I'm not a sleeper apparently, at 5 o'clock in the morning on certain channels, I think it was Channel 5 before Channel 5 was Fox for us, then we would get the new Zoo Review. So I'd watch the new Zoo Review and then Great Space Coaster. So,
Great Space Coaster, I haven't thought of that in years.
I see Mean Joe Green all the time.
So yeah, it would play that, and it would go to static eventually, or whatever channel had the static it would do. And that is what they're looking, Carol Ann, but all of them are looking at whenever they're dealing with the ghosts or poltergeist.
I also remember there were certain channels that just didn't have reception, so you could get that snow as well.
Especially on the UHF.
UHF,
which a lot of people don't understand. It was a completely different band frequency that was mostly your local channels with smaller antennas.
It's like
broadcasting at the same power.
It's like explaining AM and FM to our children.
I mean, so this movie scarred me so much that I had a little tiny black and white TV in my bedroom, and that's a story too in itself, but we're not going to get into that one, how I got that TV. But it only had 13 channels, and then it had that one that would go to UHF, and it would give you snow. So as I was looking for something to watch, usually looking for Moonlighting, because that was my show at the time, I would have to go over really quickly over that, or go backwards, because if I had the snow on for too long, I was going to hear something. In my little kid brain, I could not leave the snow on.
The snow didn't bother me, but I will say I am 90% certain after watching this movie that lightning and counting to the thunder was something that I started doing because of this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Same
I
here.
don't remember doing it because of the movie. I remember we had this really bad storm, and I was sitting with my mom and my sister's dad, and he taught me how to do that because I was so afraid of it. My grandfather loved thunderstorms, and we all lived in this big house together. And it was my grandfather. I had a couple aunts and uncles that lived there, my mom and her current husband at the time, and my baby sister. It was just a big house of a lot of people, and part of why I don't know how to cook small meals. But we had this porch, and my pop would always have me outside on the porch with him. So while I was afraid of it, if I was with him, it was okay, because I would do anything that man asked of me, because he was my man, he's my person. And even to this day, I grew up loving, I don't like them in like the idea of them, because I know the horrors and I know the things that those storms can cause, but also I love the thunder and lightning because of my grandfather. So I get that. And the counting was because of Kristen's dad. Oh, sorry, my sister's dad. We try not to say our family names.
Understood.
Click, click. But
yeah, the storm thing. I'm indifferent about thunderstorms, but growing up in Illinois, when the tornado sirens came on, that meant go outside and look.
Yeah, same.
See, I didn't grow up with that, and I can't imagine living in tornado land. To me, that's just like, no.
So I grew up in southern Missouri, so we were right in the belt, that area, the alley itself.
Oh, see that?
And yeah, my father, he trained us to go out, trained us through just him doing it, and we did it too. Go out with lawn chairs, and you sit and you watch the tornado go by.
I mean,
hopefully not over you.
Tornado Alley, the Darwinian Awards are just waiting for all of us as we go outside and run towards tornado.
Not one of us had storm cellars. I don't know why we didn't. I think the water table was supposedly too high, but
oh wow!
I'm like, deal with the mold a little bit, but maybe get us underground so that we don't die.
I mean, nowadays I feel guilty because whenever there's a tornado in the area, like a tornado watch or a tornado warning, when the sirens go off, I'm still running outside, and then I'll check my phone, and I've got friends who live in the area on social media saying, everybody get inside. I've got my kids in the basement. I'm like, oh, you're responsible? Shit.
And you're the crazy one out in the store.
I'm still, where is it? Come on.
I mean, that's how I feel about hurricanes, because even though hurricanes are pretty damn destructive, I've basically driven around town through major hurricanes. When Hurricane Floyd hit New Jersey, I know it flooded like half of New Jersey. My sister and I were driving around looking for a place that was open to get subs. It was just like we were so indifferent. I think I was only ever like, I don't know. We never really had a hurricane that really affected us. And yet we had some bad ones come through, but I was always just like, oh, just a hurricane.
I think until it affects you directly, it's very hard to understand, especially as a child growing up in that area. And then you become numb to the idea that these things will affect you.
I think I was only evacuated one time, and I was really young. So I don't remember. My grandfather was still alive. So otherwise, I don't remember ever being evacuated from a hurricane.
Well, we had an F4 that devastated a town near us when I was 20 years old. Mm-hmm. It was the next town over, and I was sweet on a girl at the time that lived out there, and I remember the adventure of trying to get in there and look and make sure she was okay. And then the next day wandered around and looked at the devastation. Plainfield High School completely leveled, the weirdness of one house being leveled and the next house being pristine, and National Guard there, Red Cross there, everybody there with all this disaster recovery. but that still didn't take it out of us to run outside and look. There's still this fascination of the macabre and the dangerous.
I think the first hurricane that actually freaked me out was the one we had last year here, the Hurricane Helene. Because we live in the mountains, in my brain, it was the logic of this should not be happening here. That's a shore thing. When I lived on the shore, we had hurricanes. That should not be happening where we are. And the trees that were knocked down, and the flooding that was happening, and all the people who lost their lives. I was more freaked out by that just last year than I think ever in my life.
But are the tornadoes and the hurricanes connected to why we are drawn to movies like Poltergeist? Because we don't like scary things, but we do love scary movies. I don't want to live in a world where ghosts could kidnap my child and the TV becomes something I'm so afraid of that I have to push it outside of the Holiday Inn. But at the same time, I love watching it.
It's the thrill, I think. It's that definitely.
I don't even know that it's the I mean,
like
certainly there's a thrill aspect to it, but I think a lot of it is, something's there. So knowing something is there and pretending in the movie that something is on the other side of this is enticing to anyone, even to an atheist like me, that there might be a possibility we don't know. And now Jo Beth Williams has a child lost to the other side. So now there's another side.
Yes.
So that something else is out there. Even if it's bad, it's something. And it's better than nothing. The void is much harder to deal with than an enemy. You can fight an enemy. You can deal with an enemy. You can even understand an enemy. That's the worst part of being, someone who has been trained in war, is you can fight someone else, but you cannot fight a concept.
Right.
And you cannot fight an illness. You can only let others fight it for you. Doctors fight it for you. Your body does the job whether you will it to or not. So fighting cancer for a veteran, very hard to do because you're a passive person in this. I mean, you have to have the willpower to get through each day, but you don't get to fight the battle. You get to endure it. And it's kind of like that in this. They're fighting something, not nothing, not just an emptiness or a lack of understanding. They understand what's happening. And that's the worst part for them.
I think so, because again, it's we don't know what's going to happen when we die, and now they were getting a glimpse of what happens on the other side. And yes, there was an evil aspect of it that was controlling the other dead bodies, but. Yeah, it's definitely that peek into the other side, but I also think it is like that endorphin rush, because some people I don't like scary movies in the sense of like bloody hacker slasher. I hate them. I've said this so many times that anybody who listens to the podcast is probably so sick of hearing me say it, because I just don't feel like, to me, it's horrific for the sake of horror. I will listen to true crime stories over and over again, but I don't want to see the images of the bodies. I don't want to see that part of it because I know it exists. I can paint the pictures in my head. For me, it's about the human side of the story, of the people who lost their lives, what possesses somebody to be able to feel so callous to take another life. And that's a horror show in itself, but I enjoy listening to those stories for lack of, I enjoy it, but people who like those horror movies, they like to see the gore. They like to see the aspect of it, and they love the endorphin rush. It's like eating spicy peppers. You get that endorphin rush from the pain. You're getting this from this rush of excitement, and going on a roller coaster. Same thing. You're getting that rush. That's the only thing I could think of that people I don't like roller coasters either. So.
Yeah, but and I think we're of a similar mindset because I'm not one for the slasher gross. My favorite haunted house is the Haunted Mansion at Disney.
Yes!
And as far as my two favorite horror movies, it would have to be a toss-up between this one and Something Wicked This Way Comes. These are not gory films, but they're scary because of the human nature in the stories. And just as a real quick aside, the one thing I did not expect, viewing it as an adult and viewing it as a parent, I found myself choking up 3 times during this viewing, which was not a reaction that I had back then, because back then the parents were just the old people. And now I'm looking at them and I'm just like,
they're such babies.
Yeah, I know what that would feel like. I could imagine. Oh my God. And also I realized, God, these two are really good parents.
Oh, they are. They really are.
But they're really good parents. But the counterpoint is when she's taken and they don't have her and the paranormal investigators come to the house, they are so calm that I did not get this the first time. When I was a kid, when I watched this, I did not understand this. They were so calm as parents, talking about their daughter who was not there. And you're like, how can they be this calm? And I understood it probably for the first time. They're not calm because she's not there and they're explaining it to someone. They're calm because she is there and they're explaining it to someone that they can't see her, but she is, they know she's there. They have they have proof that she's there because they talk to her and she responds. I did not catch this when I was a kid.
And Robbie, when he's saying, if I die, can you tie a rope around me and I can go and get Carol Ann? And that's funny that it comes back around at the end. But that my heart breaks for him. But again, Jo Beth Williams, when the entity's coming down the stairs and she sits up and it looks like it's coming like towards her, she has that little guy, Oliver, what's his last name? Oliver Robbins, who plays Robbie. She's holding him to her chest like, you can't have him. You took the other one. You cannot have, and that is like, that's not really your child. So that's not an instinct everybody has, is to take any child and cuddle with them and hold them and protect them. Strangers' children, you just don't normally think that way. And to see her, like, there was no question. Robbie was her baby. That was her child right there. So really, let's explain, I thought was interesting, what a poltergeist is. So there's, we all know poltergeists are the loud monster ghosts. So ghosts are passive and poltergeists are far from it. And so I did some background. And so the word poltergeist is 2 words basically combined. Noisy, that's German, breaking down. It's like Poltern and Geist. So it's like a noisy ghost, which is noisy ghost or rumbling ghost. It is believed that they're not actually supernatural entities, like a ghost is a supernatural entity. So a poltergeist is more of an energy that is kind of created. It is based on human emotions. Usually, and I didn't realize the second part of this, but usually teenagers, in a lot of cases, female teenagers, repressed emotions, stress, anxiety, and the poltergeist is looking for recognition and attention. That's why a lot of cases when teenagers are involved, a lot of professionals don't believe that it's actually a poltergeist, and they believe that it's just the kid trying to get attention. But the other aspect of it is they actually show up with perimenopausal women, because it's the same repressed emotions, stress and anxiety. I had no idea. And to me, I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense, because you're still got that heightened emotional state, which is bringing the attention of all the energies and causing this, because it's not like it has any type of a face, not like in the movie, it's got a face, it's got a being. That's not what the intentional definition of poltergeist is. It's more of just an energetic cluster that reacts and makes things go flying across the room and lights flicker. And so it can be violent, but again, it's not controlled. It's just a random lashing out of energies. So if you believe in that aspect of it, this is a little bit off the cuff of the intention of what poltergeist means, but I just thought that was pretty interesting that it goes down to the repressed emotions or, like I said, stress and anxiety. And since I live in a constant state of stress and anxiety, hey, where's my poltergeist?
Well, that's why they have that book. Women are haunted by poltergeists and men are haunted by hauntings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah.
In the self-help aisle.
It's a self-help book.
Interesting. It's funny. There is one thing where I think this movie was ahead of its time, and I was thinking about that as you were talking about the poltergeist being less of a face and more of these energies that prey on the anxieties. Before they open up the bedroom door and the black scientist is explaining, yeah, I once filmed a energy that moved a Matchbox car X amount of feet and it took 12 hours and da-da-da-da-da. Craig Nelson just had this expression on his face. It was very Harrison Ford-ish, kind of that irritated, okay, let me open the door for you. That Hot Wheel is cute. Check this shit.
Exactly. You ain't seen nothing yet.
I mean, you get a sense of the movie's, tone at the very start when the canary dies.
I know, and she's like, you couldn't have done this on a school day?
Literally, the canary, it's the thing that they use for detecting, dangerous times in a mine is what dies, and then everyone goes,
that's okay.
No big deal.
We're all good. Let's get some goldfish.
I mean,
yeah, which
it was the 80s.
Foreshadowing and symbolism.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it was the 80s. There were several things of natural causes that are not supernatural that could have killed the canary.
I know, and nobody even questioned it.
Could have been, the carbon monoxide.
Rayon.
Radon.
That's
radon.
Radon.
Rayon will kill you too.
Polyester.
It's the texture that's going to get you.
But yeah, the thing that I thought was ahead of its time was the idea of what would happen if these paranormal investigators actually found something real. And, Ghostbusters, kind of the same theme. And nowadays we are inundated with all of these people on YouTube and TikTok and even cable TV that are doing these paranormal investigations, and they're all wearing lights and did you hear that, and freaking out over very little sound. But their reactions were fascinating, and the guy who ended up having to rip off his face, I'm actually on the side of the poltergeist on that one, because if you're a guest in someone's home and you're feeling the munchies, you don't grab the big porterhouse steak. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Thank you very much. You had a chicken leg, you should have just stuck with that. Do not steal the poltergeist steak.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
They probably said help yourself, but not make a 4-course meal, dude.
At 2 a.m.
At 2 a.m. You deserved that. But again, also, why didn't he go running out the door screaming? He already got bit once.
He couldn't. He had too much cholesterol.
His heart would have given out. So there's rumors that Dr. Lesh was loosely based on, and because you mentioned it, and then I saw it in a few other websites, loosely based on Lorraine Warren. Now, I have lots of opinions on the Warrens. I love Ed and Lorraine Warren movie, Ed and Lorraine Warren. I don't like real life Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I mean, we don't know them, but...
I know, but what I know of them, I'm not a fan. They were very manipulative in their investigations. Ed played loose and wild with the church, the clergy, and having people coming and doing exorcists left and right, even though he didn't actually have the permission for that to happen. Lorraine saw things all the time that may or may not have happened. I think they were extremely manipulative. They just weren't really the people that we see. The people we see in the movies, in the Conjuring films, they're awesome. I love them. Because that is like, they just have the affection, the actors have the chemistry of this couple that cares about each other and just happen to be caught up in this paranormal world in their investigations. So yes, I have a lot of thoughts about them. That's part of why we didn't do a Conjuring movie, because that could take all day.
Well, I think that goes with that whole genre as an industry to make money. Whenever we're talking about psychics with their cold readings, the techniques that are used are very manipulative. They're very guided, and Penn and Teller and many other people have shown you exactly how they do it, and it's preying off people's emotions. TV preachers, faith healers doing the same thing. So it doesn't surprise me that the character that she was based off of had a manipulative side. I think that's how you make money in that gig.
Oh yeah, and while I see that manipulative side in Dr. Lesh, I also see that she has that calm effect. Like she says, I'm scared. I am honestly scared to death right now. So that gave her more of a human aspect in this movie.
Well, the shaking of the cup.
Yeah, her
when
hands
she first sees it, she's not like looking at this scientifically. She's looking at it like someone who just endured seeing a poltergeist.
Yeah.
And is freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, this went
now
beyond.
You've seen The Real Thing. I forget the name of the movie, but there was a movie starring Steve Martin where he played a TV preacher that gets stuck in a town because the bus breaks down. Meatloaf is the bus driver. They do a they do a tent rally, and he's running his usual con, and this kid who lives with a handicap and can't walk without assistance, he gets healed. And you see Steve Martin's face freaking out, and everybody's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And he goes off into a field by himself and has this large argument with God saying, everything was working fine until you stepped the F in. What are you doing ruining my gig? Because so when you've got kind of a con running and you see The Real Thing, that's gonna cause you to shake and tremble and down a flask.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think in this case, it wasn't so much that Dr. Lesh and them were running any kind of con. It seemed more to me like they were doing this very like, it's all scientific. We take the measurements. We don't prove anything, but we don't disprove it. We're just taking measurements and then relaying that information.
Until it's smacked.
But they've never had something so outright. Like he said, he got a Hot Wheels to go 7 feet in 7 hours. Or 7 inches in 7 hours, or whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever.
But it was so slow, you had to do it through time manipulation. So you had to actually make take it in, fast forwarding?
Oh, yeah.
The film so that you could see it.
Time lapse it, yeah.
Yeah, time lapse it. And so they're not used to seeing actual stuff. And now you just showed them real things. It's as if you gave someone a iPhone in 1940s. They're going to be freaked out. It's like, holy crap, you have this small device in your hand that's giving me information.
Jodie Foster in Contact. You work for SETI. You've been living your entire life. The real thing happens. You're going to freak out.
Oh God, yes.
Absolutely.
I always said I believe in ghosts. I have always believed in ghosts. I believe in the supernatural and the weirdness that is in the world. I know it exists. My grandfather, like I said earlier, was one of my favorite people in this world. He died when I was 11 years old, 1987. If he stood before me right now, 1985. If he stood before me right now, I'd probably crap myself and run. In logic, my grandfather's dead. He has been dead for most of my adult life. Or all my adult life. And so that logic tells me, this is not right. I need to go, because your brain is telling you what I know and what I believe, but to see it in front of you, oh hell yeah, that would just scare the shit out of me.
Well, this goes back to my view changing as a parent. I used to be an evangelical, so I believed in everything and thought I was talking to the creator of the universe. Now I believe in nothing, and I approach everything from an anti-supernatural presupposition. But putting myself into parents' shoes, I'm going through this when the old woman asks me, are you willing to put aside all of your morality and everything you believe in to save your child? It's just like, yeah. Putting myself in their position, it's like when you're faced with this, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And anything that I believed before, all bets are off when it comes to my kid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, That's your baby. Yeah, no, you're going to do what you have to do. And anybody who says that they wouldn't, in my opinion, would be a shitty parent.
So here's the thing I think that's strange about this film, and I'd noticed it this time as opposed to the first time, is that you start on this idyllic neighborhood. It's a new area. They've just built it up, and he's one of the people that sold those properties. So he's got a house there. It's all very nice. It's all very suburban. You think safety and everything else. And that is where they love to throw these monster movies. And they love to throw these ghosts and everything else. But it's not that so much that throws me. It's when everything hits the fan and shit is just going crazy. They lock the door and they just live in the rest of the house as if nothing's happening.
Yes.
So their daughter is missing, and the room upstairs looks like a cyclone all the time that's just whirling around with, poltergeist energy. And the rest of the house, they're just living in it and just dealing with the fact that every once in a while the coffee pot's going to move.
But they can't go anywhere because that's their last connection with their kid.
That is true.
Right, but I'm saying they lock the door and then they just come downstairs and that's where they're going to stay most of the time.
Hey, I mean, I don't know about you, but I grew up when we would lose power. So you put a blanket over the hallway and you cut off that part of the house and then you all live in the same area to keep
exactly. That is some very much Generation X boomer, that
logic
that midway between the boomer and Gen X area that you just see this ability to compress the information that you have into get through today. Just get through today, and then you get through tomorrow, and then you just get through the next day. And everybody else is coming in going, why is there a cyclone in your house? And you're like, coffee? Because what else are you going to do? You can't move the cyclone.
Yeah, and you normalize as much as you can. I mean, even that little throwaway line where she's like, we get her better on this channel. We're not really sure why, but so they're experimenting which channels is going to give us the best reception for our daughter. And that is such an American thing in trauma. We normalize what we can so we can cope through the shit. You are right.
Funny little tidbit is the development. So this is going to kind of explain a lot. So that beautiful development is, it's they're cookie cutter houses, but it is a beautiful little area. And then when the boss brings him up to the hill and tells him, this would be the beautiful place to put a bay window, we'll move the cemetery. We've already got plans for it. And then he's like, oh, well, wouldn't that upset the families? Well, it didn't bother anybody. And we did that back in 76. Well, when we built your house. So you're seeing, okay, well, this is before you know that the bodies are still there. You're knowing that they moved the cemetery. So the name of the development is Cuesta Verde. And the translation in Spanish is it costs green.
Ooh.
I thought they did some things there, didn't they?
Because I kept saying, I know Verde is green. What does Cuesta mean? So I just looked it up because I'd forgotten to do that before we started. And yeah, Cuesta is it costs. So
I love Easter eggs.
I do too. And that is a beautiful one because that just, to me, that is 80s. That is the 80s right there.
I mean, unlike most of the 80s, though, this is a very anti-capitalist film.
It really is, though, because you're seeing how this development was done under horrific circumstances. They did not move those bodies. It's all about the money. It's all about, I should have made you a partner years ago. You're making 70% of the sales down there and You're missing out the human side of it. It's not about the sales. It's not about the land. It's about the people. So you dug up people, or you didn't even bother to dig up people. You just bulldozed over people. Yes, they're dead, but still, you shouldn't do that, regardless of your belief system. And these houses are not just houses. It's people who are going to be living in these houses. So, I know, yes, I know business is about the money and making the money, but there's a human aspect that this asshole is missing. So I kind of love it how at the end when shit's going south and they're trying to get out of the house and he comes out of the car because he drove Greg T. Nelson home and he's standing there and the first thing it does is it comes and it shoots that thing right at him and knocks him on his ass. He needed that wake-up call. Maybe don't fuck around with goddamn dead people. Don't mess with the dead.
I did love the fact that the developer, they never said his position, but CEO, president, he's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that he was there as the whole block exploded, as bodies were coming out of the ground, as water, what do you call them?
The fire hydrants. Yeah.
Fire hydrants are blowing, and everybody's coming outside and they're seeing the thing that he tried to hide.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I know when I was doing my research was a lot of people were like, well, why is their house the only one that's getting sucked into the void? Well, theirs was the first one built. It had been there the longest. Carol Ann was born in that house. So it already had a taste of her energy, her essence. It wanted her. It did not leave the whole neighborhood alone. It just focused on that house because you saw the cars getting flung around and stuff.
But I like the fact that earlier in the movie, there is a mirror to be held up so that you understand what's happening,
mm-hmm.
but you don't connect it until this moment. It's when Craig T. Nelson's character, what is that? I keep forgetting. Steve. Yes,
Steven.
It's such a benign name
I know.
for Craig T. Nelson, who has such a vibrant name.
Craig T. Nelson.
I know. He's almost serial killer status with the three names. If he had the full T, and which is probably Tiberius. I'm going to say it's Tiberius.
I gotta look it up.
So, no, don't look it up. It's Tiberius. We're just going to leave it that way. Craig Tiberius. Yeah, it's fine. So earlier in the movie, they're having a remote battle because remote controls used to be off of radio frequency instead of infrared. That was one of their first things. So whenever he changed his channel, it would change the channel next door to him because they were on the same frequency. It shows you the connectedness of your neighbors that are in this subdivision. It's just one of those benign things
mm-hmm.
that shows you that interconnectedness of everyone around you. So later, it's reflected in the fact that the poltergeist is actually affecting the entire neighborhood. It's affecting your neighbors now.
Yes. And like when the bedroom shakes in the beginning and he's on the phone, he's like, oh yeah, but it affected us really bad. So you didn't.
It was a 6.5.
Yeah. And they were like, oh no, we felt some shaking, because the other side of the conversation is, oh, it was like a rumble or something. I don't know. And he's like, no, dude, everything's broken, And how did she miss the burning spot on her wall? It wasn't really a kind of... did they notice it earlier than with the dog?
No, they didn't, but it was above the headboard, so maybe that's just not an area that they look.
Yeah, maybe.
But the dog was looking at it. So you expect the dog pointing it out to you.
And you would have been more
and
like,
you never look up at it.
And for the record, their house was 80s awesome. That staircase, the carpeting, that hanging lamp in the living room with the beveled edge glass and the gold tray. Oh my God.
We were commenting on that because at first thing that staircase, I was like, oh my God, that's so 80s-tastic.
This is exactly one of those houses where you would walk in it today and go, I love this. This is so great. I'll take it.
Retro.
And also I'm going to gut it.
I wouldn't touch a thing.
I would, if anything, I would probably make the staircase a little bit more maybe... No, I keep the curve, but maybe wood. Add some wood railings.
I don't want to go crazy here, but if I were to get that house, my very first instinct was to make the carpet shaggier. There needs to be more shag to this carpet.
I mean, I would definitely...
I love that plan, but my first instinct I would be buying some nagels and putting them on the wall.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to...
lead into that house.
I was going to say, have it exorcised and have it saged and every other religion come through and just be like protections.
I think the shag carpeting will do the trick.
It might deter a few things.
Poltergeist.
Also, it would make things bounce when they fell.
It's true. You can't hear
if
anything.
Poltergeist was an interior decorator in their previous life, they'd be like, oh hell no, I can't haunt this.
Oh no. This is too much for me. I lived through the 70s. This was not going to happen.
That house was confusing enough to where it should have scared any ghost to go through it.
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking about like the kids sharing a bedroom. So you got to love a movie that has got that realism where there's not enough bedrooms in the house so that the littles have to share a bedroom.
The real issue is it did not have the sunken den.
Did not have the sunken den.
Ghost didn't trip over it and fall because they never would have inhabited that house had it had a sunken den.
White tile or cream tile, black grout.
Yep.
That's the 80s there, people. And that weird shade of pink that is not in that movie. The 80s had a weird shade of pink. That sherbet pink was everywhere.
and sometimes you had an adult female in the house whose slippers matched that shade of pink for some reason.
I know, with little teal
House
highlights.
Slippers, yep. And just as a quick sidebar, Mom dyeing her hair the day after all of this stuff went down. I'm just like, no. And you don't put the kids back in the old. No, you know what? We're camping out in the living room till it's go time.
Exactly.
And why are you taking a bath and sleeping in it?
Yeah, and who fixed the rattan headboard? Because that little girl tore it apart when she was getting sucked into the closet. So rattan is not that forgiving. I'm just saying, okay? Did they have a backup in the garage or something? Yeah, I would not have been laying there calmly, putting my kids to bed in that room. No way. That clown would have gone out the window and it would have been floating in the dead body pool. There would have been no way in hell my kids would have been in that house.
I do, and I feel firmly that this was deliberate, and I hope it was. I love the justice of the clown's demise. He just ripped the freaking stuffing out of that thing.
Yes.
That was a mission, and I was rooting for him there. I'm just like, how did I miss that in 82?
Under the bed, no less. Under the bed, just...
I just remembered the part where the clown is right behind him. I forgot that he actually trashes it.
Well, the part about the clown, though, that as a parent got me more than it's gotten me before, is when they come into the closet and after getting Robbie, and they're pulling all of the stuff out of the closet because the beds and everything have been right there in front of it, and they see a body under a pink blanket. And you could see Jo Beth Williams and Craig T. Nelson, and they're both like, no, this is not my baby. And the emotion right there. And then her laughing when they pull the blanket down and it's the clown and it's not Carol Ann demised. That reaction, that nervous, that hysterical giggle that she gives. I felt that deeply because I would have felt the same exact way. I would have thought, oh my God, this is it. And I can't do this. I have to see it, but I can't. And then to see it and then it not be it. Oh my God. Yeah, I can't imagine.
Well, so Steve is stoic through almost all of this.
Except for when he's doing that body thing in the mirror. That's not stoic. No.
But he's stoic, with all the things that happen, he deals with them in his own internalized way. But Diane is the one who you see actually changing through the film. Mm-hmm. So throughout it, she starts off housewife. That is what she is, and that's what she does. And yes, she's a little bit hippie. She's a little bit country, rock and roll, whatever. But she's doing her mom thing. Then you see her freak the fuck out.
Yes.
But then you see her deal. And she's just doing what Steve is doing, which is just dealing and not actually acting. But then she gets that second wind from Tangina, who gives her that strength, who shows her that she has that strength because she believes this woman.
Yes.
And she starts acting, starts moving forward, not just passively encountering these things, but aggressively going after her child. But also, at the end, yes, she's lounging in a bathtub. Yes, she put the kids back in the same room.
Weird.
Which is insane. But after being flipped around in a room over the ceiling and back down to the floor again, in her underwear and t-shirt, she gets up and runs right back to their room to get them. Mm-hmm. She does not hesitate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every single time she gets knocked down the stairs, she gets right back up. She is getting to those kids regardless of what it takes her to get to those kids.
And I love how that growth comes with frustration. That's very real, because at the point that she looks at her and says, I hate you for making me do this, you're just like, yeah, I'm doing what's necessary, but I don't like a bit of this. I don't like telling my kid to go here or not go here with regards to light. I hate you. And you can tell that it's not just about her, it's about the whole situation. And with that character growth, sometimes we just have evolution of a character without showing how hard it is to do what is necessary.
No, definitely. And honestly, the character, the couple that Craig T. Nelson and Jo Beth Williams play, Diane and Steve are like, to me, that is like that is the couple that I think most people should look at and say, that I want to be. I want that. Not sometimes when we go through this phase of everybody wants to be Harley and Joker because ew. That is
I think everyone should be
Stockholm
Harley
syndrome.
And Poison Ivy.
Well, yeah, Harley and Poison Ivy, but Joker and Harley, that's Stockholm syndrome. I love Harley, and she was mentally manipulated, and even like the whole, I want to be like Morticia and Gomez. Yes, they are a fantastic couple as well. But I think we're missing something when it comes to Diane and Steve. They're playful. They are opposites, but they are so playful. When they go next door to the neighbors to see if they had any weird, and the mosquitoes are biting them, and they're laughing, and they can't keep a straight face and actually say, are you guys getting some weird shit happening here? But they can't say it because they don't know how to say it. And the guy's eating his food and his kids. They're playful, and that's adorable. They're just a cute couple together. They have great chemistry together.
And and they're a team. And when the chips are down, that playfulness and that teamwork, when everything hits the fan, that's all connected. I love that point that you made, because that really is, in my book series, I write about found family. And in the midst of the trauma, there's time for laughter and the friendship, discovery of music. I didn't even see that, but yeah, you play that. They have their playfulness. Mm-hmm. They're friends. They're not just romantically interlinked. They are also best friends that enjoy those silly moments, but it's that core friendship that they're going to have to stick together and get through this in overwhelming thing.
And you should be friends with your partner. I mean, because that's something that
but we don't focus on that enough.
We don't.
In the stories.
I don't think we do, just in general. I think we have this fairy tale idea of what couples are, and that it's either going to be perfect or it's not going to be perfect. And
I just think not enough time is devoted to those moments, and instead is devoted to the romantic side.
Yeah.
Or the arguments. But it's never devoted to, or it's hardly ever devoted to, those things that make that couple a couple in the first place, which is their commonalities, or that they complement each other, or
just
that they're
fun and being silly
good,
together.
Yeah,
just
they're
having
good
that
friends. They can do stupid things and still be good people. They can still be romantic and still do stupid things like get high and I don't know,
read a Reagan book,
or have a remote war with your neighbor.
Yeah. Again, it's
there was even that little bit of nostalgia when they were when she was talking about how she sleepwalked, ended up in the backseat of some dude's car, and when she brought up her dad, Craig Tiberius Nelson, forgive me, jumped in,
Theodore.
And he's like, oh my God, Big Ed, her dad.
Yeah.
And just that whole commonality, because, him as a guy who probably got her knocked up at 17, understands what it's like to be under Big Ed's wrath.
Yeah, and again, it shows that they have that history, that, life beyond just being worker, housewife, raising children in a possibly haunted house. So, they have a history that goes beyond those years before they move to It Cost Green.
I think there would be nothing worse than having a movie about a poltergeist where you're going, I don't believe the couple is a couple.
Well, yeah.
So at least you're like, This is a very strong couple. They seem like a couple. So the poltergeist is the thing to focus on.
And see, now, if I remember correctly, in the second movie, they actually have more of a headbutting relationship. I think they fight more because, I mean, they've already gone through this shit and then more shit happens. Now, in the third one, I don't think Craig T. Nelson is in the third one. I think that I think they have Carol Ann visiting an aunt. So I don't even remember, like, what exactly. I just know it's in a big apartment building. I don't really remember the third one too much.
Yeah, again, I don't remember movie 2 and movie 3 hardly at all. I'm going to have to reinvestigate them. But, you know, Stephen as a character, there is one other thing that kept capturing me. Despite the fact that he's a real estate agent, despite the fact that he's reading a book about Reagan, he is really ahead of his time in not being your typical toxic male character. You know, I mean, you know, whenever tell her you'll give her a spanking, he's like, I've never hit my kid.
Exactly.
You know, there's just so much about his character that is so evolved in a time where that wasn't normal for a male lead.
Oh, when they were talking, when the two women are talking, so we have Dr. Lesh and Diane are talking and they're whispering and they think everyone's asleep and Steve is awake, but he's just sitting there
and listening.
And he's listening, but he's not
interjecting. He's not.
He's not
mansplaining. He's not whatever. You know, he's not getting involved in the conversation. He's letting the two women have their conversation. He's listening.
Well, he knows he's out of his depth as well, so he's not trying to tell the doctor how to do things. He's just listening, trying to understand. And I think that's a really good way to be a person.
Oh, no, definitely. Again, there's a lot more about this movie than I even remembered as being fantastic.
There's one thing I know about this movie that I remembered as a kid. I remember it now, or I recognize it now. The music is not subtle.
No.
Like, you know, every time that music ramps up, shit's going down. So it's cueing you just like a laugh track would in a comedy. I'm like, this is triggering my anxiety because I know it's coming.
I do think that we should probably put a little bit of a disclaimer, not only just for the scene with Diane getting pounded into the bed. I mean, that was kind of like sex without it actually being sex, because she's holding onto that bed, the headboard, and her body is being bounced into that bed. So we can kind of throw that as a possible SA trigger for somebody. But in the very beginning of the movie, when it shows them, it's early on in the movie, and it shows them together, and it shows the lighting coming from behind them, and there's a lot of like flashing. So if you have a problem with seizures, possibly, this could be an issue.
Oh, yeah, I think this was before they started giving those kind of warnings.
They didn't. I mean, it may not be considered that level where it would trigger somebody.
No, I think
just
it's
in
probably
case,
good
it does
just
have
be
some
careful.
flashing. I try to make notes for things like that when I see, especially in our older movies that we watch. If there's something in it that might trigger somebody in some way, shape, or form, I always try to make sure we put that out there. Do I think this movie is going to pass the Castellini test?
Ooh.
This is going to be interesting.
I think it's going to pass.
Oh, I think it's going to pass with one asterisk, but we'll go on.
So there have to be at least 2 named women characters with at least 5 lines of dialogue each.
That's
done.
Easy. That's done. We got Dr. Lesh, we have Diane, we have Tangina Barons.
Right. So we have plenty in that aspect.
Yes.
And we also have Dana. Don't forget Dana.
Oh, yeah, and Dana. Sorry, Dana.
Those characters must have a conversation, not necessarily with the other woman, either not about their partner or with their partner, future or current, and not about their relationship.
So
Definitely hits that.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anybody talks about relationships. Not romantic relationships.
It is very much not a romantic movie, so yes.
Yeah.
I would say that Diane and Dr. Lesh alone.
That conversation alone wins it.
Right. Yeah. But we also have Diane and Tangina. Mm-hmm. So those just 2 core conversations aren't about their relationship. It's about what's happening around them. All right. At least one of the women has to be integral to the plot, meaning that if she were written out of the film, it could not reach the same ending.
I think any of those women, other than maybe Dana, because again, she is an ancillary character. But if Diane was written out, there'd be no kids. If Dr. Lesh was written out, there'd be no introduction of Tangina.
I mean, he could be divorced and have the kids.
True, but again, then I think it would definitely go in a different direction. I think
it definitely wouldn't be the same movie. Yeah.
I think we need to have Diane because it would definitely be a different direction.
I agree with you, but the reason why I think that Diane is like the integral piece to this, as well as I believe Tangina is kind of integral.
Well,
because
even Dr. Lesh, because without Dr. Lesh, there would be,
sure,
Tangina wouldn't have been there.
They both kind of do the same thing for Diane, is they give her more of a belief in herself.
True.
They give her the tools to believe in her own ability.
Yeah.
But Diane herself is kind of the linchpin in this, because Craig T. Nelson may have jumped into the closet to save his child, but I don't think he had the emotional discourse to do so. I think Diane was always going to be the one that had to go in.
True.
I don't think it would have been a matter of whether Carol Ann would have come to him, but I don't think Steve could have handled the transition. Diane focused solely on getting her daughter, and that's where her strength lie.
Yeah.
He did offer to go into the closet, but she was like, who's going to hold the rope?
Yeah.
And part of me, it felt like in that moment, at least to me, and I like reading into things because that's who I am, it felt like she was saying, I'm the one who can hack this.
Right.
I'm
exactly.
the one who can go into this alternate dimension. You can't. You just stay here and hold the rope.
That's exactly what I got out of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then conversely, it could be, who's going to hold the rope? Who's going to be my anchor? Who's going to help me get out? Because if I don't have a way to get out, I need you. I need you on this side to help me come back. And it's not just about being, masculine strength. It's just being her partner. I need you here.
Which, by the way, that was one of the moments I choked up on.
Well, that's the thing about Poltergeist. It's one of the few 80s films in which the women in the movie are complex emotionally.
Yeah.
They are layered. And even Tangina is layered. You see that she's doing this very mystical thing, and she's very tuned into what she's doing, and she's very serious about it. But at the end, in front of the camera, she does
her hair.
She kind of pauses and puts her glasses on, or takes her glasses off or something. She does a little pose and says, "This house is clean," in front of the camera. She's complex. She is not just one thing.
And she's sassy. I love that she's a sass master. So like when Craig T. Nelson is trying to talk to her through his mind, and he's like, I think she's, she couldn't hear me. I was trying to answer her through my mind. And she's like, I heard you. I just don't like trick answers, and I like that because it's just like,
Well, they're not support roles. The women are not support roles in this. They are main roles.
There are a few movies and TV shows where I have a dialogue with the television and I'm yelling at it. And at the end, when she's knocked down the stairs, I found myself literally yelling at the TV a couple hours ago saying, get up, get back in there, get back in there. And when the hallway lengthens and she goes running down, and I'm like, yeah, you go, you kick its ass.
Well, she's limping.
It was just like,
she's limping at first, then she goes into a full sprint. So you're like, this is like a Flash Gordon moment.
Yeah.
Where
I don't think I've yelled at the TV this long since Sam or Max was trying to escape Vecna's lair in the last season of Stranger Things.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, it's definitely the superpower adrenaline that the mom lifting the car off of the kid situation where she was limping, and then all of a sudden she sprints because the adrenaline kicked in and the pain didn't matter anymore.
And in all of this, she's a fighter more so than any of the Rocky movies where he makes his comeback after he's tired. It's just like, get up, get back in there.
And through the whole thing, she is afraid. But the whole point of bravery is not that you aren't afraid. It's that while you may be afraid, it does not control you.
and you can be afraid and not be a cowering, Shaggy standing in the corner, biting their nails. You can be afraid and still be brave. You can still put on this front of, well, shit's got to get done, and I might be petrified, but shit still has to get done. Again, as being somebody who raised the kids by myself for a few years, I was petrified. I didn't know what the hell I was doing on a good day, and I barely had money to make rent and to pay for anything, and every day was a scary like struggle for me for a very long time. And so, yeah, my kids were not abducted by poltergeists, but
not that we know
of. Our oldest did shoot a gun through a house. The
house is okay. It made it.
We lived down the hill from our in-law, or from our landlord, and he had gone on vacation, and we would go up there and tend to the animals, and I would send my oldest up there because he was the oldest, and he was about 15 years old, and we heard the gunshot, but the kids and I, the younger two, were in the house with me, and we're like, oh, well, we hear these things all the time. Sometimes we're out in the middle of nowhere. And he comes running down, and he's like, I did something bad. He went into the house because the landlord never locked the door. It's a farmhouse, and he found his gun, and he got nosy, and the way he shot, it's amazing it didn't come through. If it wasn't for the fact that our house was below, it probably would have hit me and the other two. So needless to say, I was a little petrified because I didn't know what I was doing, and here I'm raising kids and they don't know what they're doing, So again, you have to put that brave face on. You can't let them know that you're afraid. That was a tangent and a half, but it was always my favorite story to tell.
No, but I think it delves back into the power of her character, because this is somebody who was just tossed around like a rag doll, and she's coming back for more.
Yep.
She never stopped. She kept getting back up.
Oh, yeah. And you'll do that. You'll do that for your kid. Like, maybe she's a tiger mommy. I wasn't, thinking that she was, or a bear mama, or whatever they call them, mama bears.
Mama bears.
Mama bears, that's it. I live in the South. I should know that.
You really should. By now, anyway.
But, I get that, she is that, and she's very protective, and it's just instinct. You want to protect your babies, regardless of how ridiculously dumb they can be.
And that was Poltergeist. So, Pat, why don't you tell us what's going on with you? Because you got things happening right now.
Oh my goodness. It's a lot happening all at once. I had to take a break. And this is going to touch on, since, a lot of this deals with emotions. I just came back from a major surgery. We were out of work for 3.5 weeks into recovery. I had a lot of good people there for me. What I didn't realize was I've had 10 surgeries in my life. There has never been anything at this level that was this exhausting. And I've got a lot on my plate, and I'm trying to do that balance because I was on painkillers, oxycodone for 10 days. And I did not go on social media. I had other people running my public socials, and they did a fabulous job. They also used a lot of archived pics of me because they've known me forever. That was not embarrassing. But anyway, I digress. The thing about it is, I'm finding out that my reactions on social media, it's different now. I don't know if it was always this way and I wasn't aware of it, but after a 2-week break, 3-week break, coming back to it, I find myself starting to get alarmed, and I'm like pulling back. So I'm trying to find that balance while I'm doing what I'm about to shamelessly plug. On Black Friday, we have the second book in my Hearts of Glass series called Hearts of Glass Fade Away and Radiate, which is a play off 2 Blondie songs. It's the second book, and it was the biggest challenge I've ever taken on as a writer, because this book is a standalone book. Somebody who hasn't read the first book will understand everything going on in this book, but it's still a proper sequel for people that read the first book.
Okay.
That took more brain power than I thought I had. I'm very proud of myself. My editorial staff was great in helping me with that development of making sure the characters could be reintroduced, yet be continued for other people. That was amazing. But the themes in this one, I like what my voiceover actor said, Jen Lanham, said recently, is that the main theme is really tenderness. Because in the first book, these characters, Cassie, Ford, Jenny, they go through, you get to see DV, you get to see SA, you get to see trauma. What happens after the happily ever after and the couple becomes a couple and the friends overcome these things, but you've still got the weight of all of this trauma? How does it affect trust? How does it affect intimate relationships? We also have to struggle, which is a very real struggle that I think I know youth still face today. I go into depth as to a couple's first time in physical intimacy, where for one of the characters, it literally is his first time. And how do you find information and how do you navigate that when you have had past bad experiences with your childhood? And also bringing up the point that even though somebody's a victim, they can still want intimacy. Even though somebody has had problems, they are worthy and deserving of love. And the trauma expressions that you have are not what defines you and defines your worth. So it's even a deeper dive than the first book was into some very hard topics, but it continues to be hopeful and it continues to be very tender. And along with that, with the launch happening on Black Friday, we've gotten Indiegogo, and I would love to give you guys a link if you want to share it in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But with the Indiegogo, we are not just raising money for the expenses related to the book like last time. We're actually doing something really exciting that happened while I was recovering from surgery, and that's called the Thrive Initiative. So what the Thrive Initiative is I work closely with a lot of people that work on the front lines of DV and SA. And I also work with a lot of people that are trauma informed. I have done a lot of work with a group out here in Chicago called Coffee, Hip Hop, and Mental Health. And with all of this involvement, I've also been getting people who are trauma survivors that have been reaching out to me about the book. I mean, the reviews always mean the most to me, but when people slide into my DMs and tell me their most intimate stories about the things that happened to them, and they say, thank you for this book because it's given me a point of healing and a reminder that this wasn't my fault. Thank you for this story because I am Ford, I am Cassie, I wish I was Jenny, or this person, Cassie reminds me of so-and-so, and my world is better because for a couple of days I got to have her back. Thank you. And they bring up little cute things that instead of a Chevette, it was a Ford Escort that smelled of cloves and bad decisions. But in those conversations, this idea formulated of, since this book series is inspired by life and that is now inspiring lives, let's take it even further out of the pages. So what the Thrive Initiative is going to do is, instead of just doing book signings and stuff like that, we're going to have trauma-informed events with people who are experts in the field, and we're already developing what this looks like, where you go to an event and we not just talk about the themes of the books, but we talk in a very safe, controlled space as trauma survivors of whatever the trauma may be, together, and we talk about how to use creative writing and other forms of expression such as music as not just therapy but as ways to express yourself, just like the Riot Girl movement, where at a Riot Girl concert women would just take the mic and scream the things that happened to them, or sometimes they would just scream. They created their own zines, and the zines contained haikus and poetry and rage, and just expression and bleeding out all of these things, and these things help. And when we do it together, that's where the found family happens. Now, again, since none of us are experts except for the trauma-led people that are guiding us, this is for survivors by survivors, but we're also always going to be raising funds, and we're going to be getting books into the hands of DV and SA shelters, not just my books, but children's books. There's a Stevie Bees, who is a famous trans person out in Canada. They have a new book coming out, which is under my publisher as well, called What is a Safe Space? And it's a children's book about safe spaces and what that looks like. And I've read it, and it's absolutely beautiful and stunning. There's a young woman who has her own not-for-profit that has a book coming out under my publisher called Buford's Purposeful Day, which talks about that whole feeling of feeling like you're lost and creating your own sense of purpose. So we're going to get these things out to the shelters, because a lot of the shelters don't have, they've got a lot of groups that are donating books, but they're sometimes used tattered books. Mm-hmm. These are going to be new books signed by the authors. We're going to get funds over to them. So it's this whole thing of using these stories to get, basically it boils down to this. I had a conversation with all these other trauma survivors that I've met because of this book I wrote. And we all had this conversation about, what do you wish we had when we were going through this? This is what we're building together. And, it's not going to be a not-for-profit. It's going to be channeling resources into those not-for-profits. I don't want to create the wheel again. That's already been created, but we're going to use the tools that those wheels have and bring them into bookstores, libraries, cafes, and back rooms in rented spaces where we can host these things, raise some funds, and give you some tools that you can go back home and you can start writing your own poetry. You can start jamming on your own songs. And my publisher and a connected company that works in audio and music are going to work together, so that just like the Riot Girl Spirit, if somebody wants to write something, if somebody wants to sing something, we're going to find ways to get that out into the world for other people to be able to stream it, to be able to buy it, to be able to take it in. The Riot Girl ethos is one of the things that inspired this book with the strong female characters, because that was one of the things that planted the seed that stopped me from being a completely toxic fucktard. I needed strong female survivors to be my guides and recalibrate my compass that was being diverted by evangelical right Christianity when I was at a young, tender age. So, we're going to continue to adopt that ethos, but put it into the modern era. So that's everything that I've got going on. But, at the end of the day, the most important thing is being a part of my child's life and enjoying in a new phase now of this post-recovery time, all of these people that have been there for me, because I'm used to being the helper even when I'm empty. And this time I had to rely on others to get in and out of the shower, to be fed, to have my dressings changed, because especially those first 4 or 5 days, all I could do was lay on my side and exist. And existence was terrible, scary, vulnerable. And that was very triggering when you have a trauma abuse past. To be vulnerable, you feel like a roly-poly that's not able to roll. You're just fully exposed. And that was a very tender moment. And so in this new season, as I write the last 2 books in the installment, it's going to be at a slower pace, because I need to take some time to enjoy myself. And everything is dystopian right now. Our world is falling apart. Living just on the outskirts of Chicago, I see what is happening. I have friends that are terrified. They go out, they go nowhere without their passport. And even when they have their passport with them, they're keeping as low a profile as possible. It's terrifying. Our rights are being eroded. I'm scared for all of the trans young people in my life right now. And I've got a lot of them But along with this, there has to be a reminder of what I'm fighting for and why we're doing this. So I've learned from this experience that while I plug away, while I do stuff, I need to take time to delight and do things like this. I need to take time and get off social media and ask my kid if he wants to go out for some pizza and ice cream and just talk about life. I need to sit down with all of these beautiful people in my world, you two included, and say, let's enjoy time while we've got it before the Gestapo breaks down our doorway like it's V for Vendetta. And when that happens, I hope we're cellmates, because we can have some laughter along the way. So yeah, those are the things that are going on, both publicity plugging, and on a personal front. That's really what I want to enjoy, that personal front too, because this connection with the other trauma survivors, this is not just me wanting to be the great white hope. I'm not going to be the hero here. I'm going to be working with a team of people. And even though we talked about it as what did we need when we were going through this, this is something I still need. So I want to create a space with part selfish intent to extend my found family to these beautiful people out there that have experienced the same things I have and are going through it still.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things we can do is anyone that has privilege should be using their privilege to lift others up. Mm-hmm. We should be endeavoring to make privilege not a thing anymore. And the way to do that is to bring everyone up.
Yeah.
I find that I've recently started a new job, and not only is my coworker Hispanic, but a lot of the pre-K families I work with they're Hispanic. And I go out of my way to let them know that their children, and I'm even with my coworker, I will be at that door if somebody came here and tried to take any of them, or to stop them, or to do anything against them. I will be there. I will use the mayonnaise colored skin that I have and stand there and beat the crap out of whoever even thinks about touching one of my babies, because when they're in my care, they're my babies. All 18 of the little crazies that I love. But yeah, we have to use our privilege. And that's a situation where I would definitely use my privilege to fight for them, because what's happening right now is complete and utter bullshit. And we have to stand up against what's going on. The Thrive Initiative, as you're explaining it, honestly, I wish we lived closer, because I would love to be a part of this and help out in some way, shape, or form. And please, I have an undergrad in psychology. While I am no professional, one thing, even with my 4-year-olds right now, I focus on mental health. We learn about the zones of regulation at a very young age, because it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's what we do with those emotions. That's key.
Actually, you would be a wonderful addition to the team, and everybody on this team, I tell us all that all of us are volunteers. So you only do what you can do while you address the rest of your life. We will definitely talk more about that. I do want to say one other thing. When I was recovering from the surgery, I still wasn't fully recovered, but I had bought tickets to see the Psychedelic Furs and Gary Newman months before. And I went to the concert anyway, and I have regrets, but I also don't regret it.
Yeah.
I was in a lot of pain, and I almost fell 3 or 4 times.
Oh, no.
But while I was there, I got to experience a different experience than I never thought I would. The only way I was going to get there was if I was able to sit with accommodations. So instead of the tickets that I had to sit in the spot for people with disabilities. And so I called them up ahead to make sure that they would make that allowance, and they were happy to. The staff at the Auditorium Theater in Chicago, shout out to them. They were amazing, and they were very attentive. They took, I actually had a little bit of shame, and the guy the house manager could tell, and he was like, dude, you're about to see the Furs, man. It's going to be okay. And when I went there, I was one of 2 people in that section that was not using a mobility device. But everybody there accepted me with welcome arms, and we had the absolute best time. I plan on writing more about this. I'm not going to say much more other than to say going outside of my zone. I mean, whenever we talk about our privilege, there are some things that we miss out on privilege, because I have the privilege of being mobile. I have the privilege of having life without a disability at this juncture. At some point, all of us become disabled. That's a natural part of aging. But
you wear
in
glasses.
this state,
Technically,
I
always say that glasses are a disability.
My thing is being in that section as a guest that was humbly using it temporarily, who felt conflicted about that, and being welcomed by them and enjoying their stories of all the concerts they've been to. And we just talked about music, and I remember a wheelchair bound gentleman looked at me at the end, and he was like, "So where's the after party?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm in so much pain. I'm going home, man. But it was great partying with you." And he's like, "Come on." I'm like, "No, I can barely walk right now." He's like, "I can't walk." I'm like, "Damn it."
And usually they have like the best sense of humor about that. And I do find that there's two groups of people. There's the people who understand that accommodations and modifications are fantastic. You should be able to have that in your life if it's going to give you the quality of life that you need and you deserve. And then there's the people who are like, accommodations and modifications they just show weakness. And it really, I see that in special education a lot, especially parents who haven't fully grieved their child to the point of understanding that they need those things. They still want to have this quote unquote normal child.
Yeah, and the thing is that was also amazing about it is one of the few times I was in one of the few spaces that absolutely does it right. And I heard from these people that I was sitting with about the spaces that don't do it well at all, where it's hard to get in, hard to get out, and it's almost like it's an afterthought. And that was really eye-opening, and it was also beautiful to be their guest and be accepted among them. The other nice thing about it was it's right by the backstage entrance for the talent. So while Gary Newman is performing, his wife and his daughter are poking their heads out every so often, and they're actually chatting with some of the people there. The house manager kept coming over to make sure we were all having a good time. And when Gary Newman's set was done and the Psychedelic Furs came on, the guitarist and his wife and Gary Newman's kids came out just to watch the Furs perform, and their only place to do that was in our section, and it was so much fun watching that interaction and their ability to interact with the fans, and it was just an amazing experience. So I think that along with our privilege, I guess my long form point is, and I somehow get to the point eventually, is that we think that our privilege gives us experiences, and we don't understand the beauty of the other experiences. If you read my book, you'll find out Jenny, the character who's profoundly deaf, Jenny, when she shows Ford how she enjoys music by using the membrane of a balloon. At my book signing events, I have brought balloons in a boombox and had people stand there and hold the balloon membrane to feel that experience. And it changes the way, just like it did for me, because Ford's experience with that is based on a very real day. Just like for me, it changed the way that I take in music and the way that I understand and feel pop culture. And there is so much that we can learn from each other. It goes back to something that my dad always used to say: if you want to become a better person, understand that everybody knows something you don't, and the secret is to find out what it is that they don't, what it is they know that you don't. And then his follow-up was: the smart steal from the strong and assume everybody's stronger than you.
That is perfect. And I had a student who did the same thing. She was deaf, she was Down syndrome, and she held a speaker to listen to music. So if you would like to watch Poltergeist from the comfort of your own home without poltergeists, you can watch it on HBO Max, Philo, YouTube, Hulu, Sling TV, and Amazon Prime, YouTube TV, Google Play, Apple TV, and Fandango, either through subscription or renting it for $3.99. It's actually available pretty much a lot of places. It's just trying to find it in weird ways.
There is the 2015
There
version,
is.
and of course there are several sequels.
There are several sequels. They're not very good.
I don't know.
Cain.
The second
God
one
is
was
in his
pretty
holy
good.
temple. That song haunts me. Let me in.
So this has been Once More with Feelings with Beth and Michelle. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at OMWFPod. Visit our page at oncemorewithfeelings.podbean.com. Or you can send us an email. We'd love to hear from you at omwfpod@gmail.com. Take a moment to subscribe and rate us on iTunes or wherever you buy your finer perfumes.
Yes, and there will be no clues this week because we already told you we're going to be doing our live watch of The Exorcist with a craft.
Yep, and we will be putting that link up on Podbean.
Mm-hmm.
And you can listen in as we fumble through crafting
On Friday.
on the
Halloween.
31st,
Yep.
on October 31st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yes.
And it'll be there until we're done.
I'm not looking forward to it. The crafting, yes. I'm not looking forward to watching The Exorcist. I don't want to watch it.
I did not mind The Exorcist, but I haven't seen it in a very long time, since the 70s.
It's the religio horror that I kind of freak out about because
I was in high school the last time I saw it, and I will be tuning in to watch it. But for some reason, I always get Linda Blair and Lisa Whelchel confused, and I don't know why.
because she played Lisa. Oh, no, she didn't play Blair.
She played Blair.
Yeah.
But
But
beyond
Lisa
the
Whelchel-
name, there's some other weird neurodivergent.
I know what it is, though. They both have the same demon.
It's the Blair of it all.
They both have the same
And
demon.
they do have the same demon.
That's okay. She got it slapped out of her in what, season 3?
I know, when Joe and her hooked up. Because we all wanted her and Joe to hook up.
I think the important takeaway here for Poltergeist is that the real demon was in the TV all along. So.
Until next time, guys. Bye.
That was Poltergeist, the 1982 horror movie. I want to thank Pat Green, who is a great friend of the show, for being on and sharing his feelings about the movie. And you can check out his links in the show notes for the Indiegogo and his link tree. So please check that out. And we will see you next week.
Why is this door locked, Mr. Freeling?
Answer her, Stephen.
I am addressing the living.
I'm sorry. That's the room my son and daughter used to occupy.
We believe it's the heart of the house.
This house has many hearts.